Hello, and welcome to the regular board meeting of the St. Peter School Board. Tonight it is Monday, April 21st, a beautiful afternoon, 2025 at 6:35 in the evening. I will call this meeting to order. First thing on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, if we have visitors who would like to speak on an agenda item, please let your name be known and we'll give you an opportunity to speak. But so far, we don't have any interest in that tonight. Let's take a look at our consent agenda before us. We've got a number of items here.
I move the agenda.
Call me to order.
Oh, I thought we did.
But yeah,
Oh,
we have to adopt the agenda.
yes, please. All right.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Very good. The agenda is adopted. All right, let's take a look at our consent agenda. A number of items, we can take one or two off as individual items if necessary. Otherwise, we can take the entire consent agenda as one item.
I'll move the approve of consent agenda, but I'd like to make a few comments before we vote.
Very good.
I'll second that.
Okay, very good. Your discussion.
Yes, I'd like to recognize some of the retirements that we're voting on tonight. These individuals have been involved with the district for a long time. In fact, I think I even taught with some of them. In fact, I know I did. George Schoenborn and Kelly Jensen, both at the high school. Mike Keller started at the high school as a custodian and then moved to North. And then Heidi Wenner, who is a former student of mine. So, heck of a kindergarten teacher.
I also want to just point out the resignation of Bob Southworth, the head girls basketball coach. Not a teacher of the district, but a member of the community who coached the girls basketball team for 15 years. Ran a pretty successful girls basketball program. Went to state a few times in many section basketball games, and just want to thank him for the many years that he was a positive influence on many young ladies in our district. So I want to thank him for that.
Very good. Thank you all for your many years of service. Do we have any further discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Very good. Consent agenda is approved. All right, our student spotlight for the evening. We have Dominic Jackson joining us this afternoon.
Board, thanks for the invite tonight. Tonight I have Dominic Jackson with us. Dominic is a sixth grader, and if his family looks familiar, family was here last week. Oh, pretty successful family. Dominic is quite the wrestler. Dominic has recently earned first place in both the Minnesota USA and Northland Youth Wrestling Association state tournaments. So has won both state tournaments. And to my knowledge is the first youth from St. Peter to achieve that accomplishment. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about wrestling.
Wow.
So Dominic, how long have you been wrestling?
7 years.
7 years. And how did you get started in wrestling?
My grandpa, he was like, we should try wrestling because he used to like watch wrestling. So then we tried it out, and then I just ended up sticking with it.
And your whole family wrestle?
Most of them, yes.
Awesome. So it's a family thing. So I am from a big wrestling family. I started wrestling in second grade, but I was maybe slightly above average when you add it up. So maybe a B- wrestler. So what is your key to success, or what has led to your success?
A lot of practice and dedication.
Practice and dedication. Do you feel like hard work is a part of that?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Do you think that being a wrestler has made you a better student, and
Yeah.
why?
Just helping me push through things when things are hard.
So kind of overcoming that adversity. Do you ever get in that mindset, like maybe you're taking a test and you're like, yeah, if I can win state, I can probably
Yeah.
get these math problems? Okay. Aside from wrestling, what else do you do for fun?
I like to play football, well, really any sports, games, and hang out with my friends.
Do you do any other youth, like organized youth sports? Are you on the football team?
Yeah, football.
Okay, great. What's your favorite class at St. Peter Middle School, and why?
Phi Ed, because it allows me to be active.
Sense? So we got a long time to think about it. You're only in 6th grade, but beyond school, what's the dream?
I wrestle for a D1 college,
Got any picked out?
probably U of M.
Ooh, I would say Iowa State's a better choice. U of M will go. I'm just kidding.
Beg to differ with you, Dr. Graff.
Had to throw the Cyclones in there. Had to throw the Cyclones. You're darn right they do. Used to be really good. Used to be good. And then, does the board have any questions for Dominic?
These belts and medals are incredibly impressive. I wish you could all pick them up and maybe be willing to share. They are heavy. Those are very substantial. And I don't know if, now I was a fan maybe of professional wrestling when I was a younger man. And so I recognized some of the belts from that era. I did not realize that these belts continued into all levels, several levels of wrestling. So that's impressive to see.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great job.
You can get a workout, Dominic, just taking care of all of your medals and carrying them around.
Run up and down the stairs
Yeah.
with your bag.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I was a little distracted because the one belt that came around was heavier than I anticipated. So what was your favorite class? Did you say Phi Ed? Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought so. If you had to go beyond Phi Ed, what would be your second favorite class? I know, I'm really pushing you here.
Probably science.
Science, okay. I was just curious because obviously I can tell you're just like a Phi Ed guy, but I was just curious beyond that. But yeah, that one belt, I was a little surprised. It was very, very heavy. Do they make it the same pound you are? Like, I mean, that was impressive. Yeah.
Can you keep the belts, or is that something that's a traveling award?
No, you keep it.
That's great, yeah.
So you've got your sights set on D1 college wrestling. Very ambitious, especially for someone your age, I would think. So that's excellent. But I'm wondering, do you have a particular collegiate wrestler that you look up to?
Jordan Burroughs.
Yeah.
What is it about Jordan
Yeah.
Burroughs that you look up to?
He's an Olympic champion.
Is that in your sights, the Olympics?
Maybe.
Sure. So are you like training all the time? Like,
Yeah.
mom's shaking her head, yeah. So,
A lot of time that we spend driving to all over the place for training, so.
I am very impressed.
You might ask Dr. Graff if he's ever heard of a gentleman named Dan Gable. And he might say something about Iowa and the Olympics and undefeated and all that, but don't believe it. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Historically phenomenal, just absolutely fantastic wrestler.
Would you mind introducing your family to us?
Yeah. So that's my brother Dylan. He's a 7th grader, St. Peter Middle School. That's my other brother, Coney Hoffer. He is 1st grader at South. My mom and my dad.
Oh,
Oh, and my little sister. She's 1 year old.
And my last question, how much living room wrestling you got going on at home?
We have transformed our basement. There's a whole mat set up.
oh, wow.
A nice little gym that you can work out in. So.
Awesome.
That's
well, thank
awesome.
you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's impressive.
That is impressive. Well, thank you. Student council report is not for tonight, so we can move on from that. Yeah, I know, that was no joke. All right, we've got a number of action items to consider tonight. First up, to consider acceptance of gifts and donations and grants. Here, let me pull it up in front of me. We had, where did that go?
I got it.
Oh, okay, please.
So, from Mrs. Sikora at South Elementary, she has a memo attached. There's a donation of a chill-out rocker roller, adaptive chair, a standing wheelchair, and additional adaptive equipment that was given to the district for use at South Elementary. These items will be used by the Special Education Department to support students with physical and sensory needs. And we're sincerely grateful to Allison and Neil Ellingson family for this generous gift, and I recommend accepting this donation as presented.
Also move.
And I'll second. With gratitude.
Yes, thank you. Any additional discussion?
I'm always very thankful when the families that use those things can, when they're done with it, when their children outgrow it, can think to donate to the school. I'm just always so thankful for that, so thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Any other discussion? Okay, with that, we'll call to the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Very good. Agenda item is passed. Action item number 2. Consider the approval of the revised fiscal year 25 budget.
So you have a preliminary budget that you adopted in June of 2024. And then the practice is to come back after all of the stuff sort of settles and present you with a more accurate budget, which is the revised budget. And Megan will take you through that.
All right. There are 3 documents attached in board book relating to the fiscal year 25 revised budget. I'm really going to go over the summary document. It's just 1 page. Has all of the funds on it like this. It should be the top one attached. The whole top box is the general fund. We spend the most time talking about the very top line, the unassigned general fund, mostly because it's the broadest and we have the capacity to use it on a wider range of things. So we started the year after the audit was complete with an unassigned general fund balance of just over $5 million. As you can see, we have estimating $27.6 million in revenue, $27.2 million in expenses, an adjustment into the fund with an ending fund balance, unassigned general fund balance of $5.5 million. So from the adopted budget to now, Dr. Olson has done a great job of keeping all of that information and all of the changes in front of you with the quarterly fund balance tracker. I just wanted to highlight a few of the things just as a reminder for how we got from the adopted budget to here. Again, like I said, we had the final audited numbers for 24. Our enrollment is up approximately 67 students from where we thought we were going to be. So we have increased revenue there. With some natural attrition with retirements and resignations, we had an increase to the fund balance because of some because of the replacements that we had for those positions. Our transportation contract with some negotiation actually came in with a $0 increase, so we were able to take off some of those expenses that we had earlier anticipated. We're using some restricted reserved Q comp dollars to pay for interventionists. And most recently, we received a revised budget from MVED, and our expenditures there were increased. That's an extremely hard budget to estimate, and because of the student population and how small it is, if you have a few students move in or out, it can really impact your bill. So we had an increased estimate for what we're going to contribute for fiscal year 25, so that had a decrease for our fund balance. So overall, with all of those changes, those are the biggest impacts that you'll see from our adopted budget now to this revised budget. Moving on down, we have prepaids and non-spendables. We don't anticipate any changes there. The restricted funds, just as a reminder, those are the dollars that are restricted or reserved via statute or a GASB GASB that might be in place. So we try and utilize those dollars to the best of our ability. Gifted and talented, A&I, learning and development. We use up those dollars if we can. There are some things that we aren't able to use up. QComp, operating capital, LTFM. So we do have some balances there, but we try and use them as best as we can, leaving $0 balances if possible. And then the very last line is our assigned funds. So the difference between the restricted dollars and the assigned dollars, or that assigned dollars are things that the district chooses to set aside. So we have a purpose that we are saving those dollars for, or allocating those dollars for, versus the restricted dollars that are set aside for statute. So as you can see with the 25 revised budget, we're anticipating a general fund ending fund balance of just over $8 million for the entire general fund. Any questions before we go on to the bottom section?
So if I heard you correctly, so the MVED, actually, we had to pay them more than we thought we were gonna have to?
Correct.
Okay. And let's just really test my knowledge on these reports. Am I correct in finding it on the report? Is that the $60,000?
What's that?
Is that the $60,000? Am I finding the right number on the report on page 25? I don't know, are your page numbers the same as my page numbers? No?
No, I don't have them numbered the same.
Oh, okay.
So there should be,
I'm sure I'm grabbing the wrong number, but I
No,
was
that's
just seeing
okay.
if I was finding the right number. It was fiscal year 24 estimated expenses, general fund unassigned, and then I just found MVET estimated expenses, and then it was 60,408.
So this
one?
Yep, so the very bottom peach one is the most recent addition. It's our quarter 4 adjustment that we had. So we wanted to separate that out because it was quarter 4.
Okay.
So that's,
So maybe I did find the right number. All right.
any other questions before we move on? Okay, so moving down to food service, we had anticipated a decrease in our food service fund balance. Going into the revised budget, our expenses for food service are coming in slightly better than we anticipated. Obviously, with inflation, food is still costing an awful lot of money, but it's not quite what we had anticipated. So we are still estimating a decrease in that fund balance of just shy of $200,000, which will still leave us with a fairly substantial fund balance of $871,000. Going into fiscal year 26, just to note that we are going to have to draw that fund balance down. We'll talk about that when we get to the adopted 26 budget, but that's something that we plan to do intentionally with our principals and our food service director, making some of those decisions to how we can get that fund balance decreased a little bit. There were fairly minimal changes to the community service fund. You will see that we are starting the first of the 9-year plan for the $900,000 deficit for community service. So that adjustment is in there. Otherwise, there should be fairly minimal changes outside of that. The next line down is the building construction fund. You can see that we sold our bonds for building construction. We're anticipating between July and then June of 2025 that we're going to spend about $6.7 million of that. The next line down is debt redemption, so that's paying off the bonds, our existing bonds. You will see a negative fund balance on debt redemption. That is simply related to timing because we had to start paying on the HVAC bonds, as we refer to them, but because of the levy and the timing component, the revenue and the expenses don't hit at the same time. So it's nothing to be concerned about, but it is there solely a timing issue. The next line down is our scholarships. So those are just some of our larger scholarships that we have, $746,000 as an ending fund balance. And the very last line is then our insurance fund. So as you know, we are self-insured for both health and dental. We have seen quite an increase in our health insurance claims that we've had to be paying out. So I would say other than the unassigned general fund that we talked about earlier, you'll see the biggest change from the adopted budget to the revised budget in the insurance fund because of those claims that we're paying out. We've worked with our insurance broker and he's sort of helped us navigate that and arrive at our increase for insurance premiums for next year to sort of offset that and make sure that our self-insurance fund isn't at stake. But other than that, that is the large picture of the revised budget. The second attachment is just the same information in more detail if you wanted to see some of those restricted reserve balances or maybe the breakout of the community service fund. But otherwise, it should be the same information just in a more extensive layout And then the very last attachment is the 3-year rollout and the enrollment numbers, which I know we're going to talk about in the next agenda item. Are there any other questions related to the revised budget?
Business Committee has also reviewed this in detail and recommends your approval of the fiscal year 25 revised budget.
I'll make a motion to approve fiscal year 25 revised budget.
I will second that.
Okay, very good. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further comments, questions? Discussion?
Thank you, Megan. Good job.
Okay. With none, I will call for a vote. For all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Very good. Motion passes. Thank you, Megan. But don't go anywhere. All right, number 3, consider the approval of our 25 to fiscal year 28 budget adjustment plan.
You've seen the budget adjustment plan at a number of different previous meetings and study sessions. We had it as an information item, I think, in a month ago. We've run this through with the Business Committee in significant detail. There's a narrative portion of the budget adjustment plan. Then there is the 3-year rollout that Megan will take you through. And then there are the supporting documents. But the one thing I want to point out about the budget adjustment plan is this is where we are tonight, and it's where we believe we're heading, but we also know that things can change very rapidly. We could see an increase or a decrease in students. We had 67 more students than we anticipated this year than we had in the preliminary budget. The state legislature could give us more money or give us less money, or take away different pots of money that are important for us. So we won't know that till the statutory deadline for the legislative session ending, or, which is May 19th, 18th, right, one of those 2 dates in the middle of May, or there's a special session, which keeps us in the dark even longer. But with what we know right now, we're confident in recommending this budget adjustment plan, and Megan, I'll turn it over to you to take us through it.
So I'm going to spend the most time just talking about this document here, which you have seen, like Dr. Olsen said, numerous times before. The left-hand column is going to be fiscal year 25 through fiscal year 28 if we were to make no changes moving forward. So as you just approved, again, this is our unassigned general fund. This is just that top line of the summary page that we looked at. So we're anticipating that we're going to end fiscal year 25 with $5.5 million. If we were to do nothing at the end of fiscal year 28, we would be down to just over $2 million or 24.9 days. So therein lies then the 3-year plan that we have put into place. You'll see that each of the next few years, we are going to do that $100,000 transfer from 01 to 04 to work on that deficit. Additionally, we're planning on doing an annual transfer of $200,000 to cover the expenses over revenue that we're seeing in that fund every year. So those 2 transfers will be going out every year for 26, 27, and 28. In fiscal year 26, you can see in the green box in the middle, a $430,000 adjustment. So that's going to be the target for the budget adjustment that is outlined on the with the detail that Dr. Olsen had. So that is the plan for fiscal year 26. In fiscal year 27, we have a budget adjustment target of $200,000. And then in fiscal year 28, at this point, we don't have any budget adjustment. But as Dr. Olsen said, there's plenty of things that could change where we could either reduce those budget adjustment targets or increase those budget adjustment targets depending on how things flesh out. So with all of those adjustments, whether it's additional revenue, decreasing expenditures, or the transfers going to Fund 4, then you get to the right-hand side. So this is where we're anticipating we're going to be with those changes in the middle. So as you can see, at the end of fiscal year 28, we're anticipating that very bottom lower right-hand box, an unassigned general fund balance of just over $3 million, which equates to 37 and a half days.
And just as a reminder, we're at a fund balance target of 30 to 35 days, so we're hitting that fund balance target at the end of fiscal year 28. We also should probably take a look at page 28 in your board book, which is the plan that's been shared with staff throughout the district. It was shared with the business committee. You've seen this before. The adjustment number changes and will continue to change as we use our staff budget tracker. And that's really staff who will be leaving and new staff coming in, and looking at whether or not that is an increase in expenditure or a decrease in expenditure based on where those staff members might be in terms of, for teachers, a step and lane as an example. For other staff, years of experience. And we've talked through all of these items before, but if you have any questions on any of the adjustments or would like to make any comments, certainly feel free to do so. Couple of notes. We do have a soft hiring freeze in effect. Where if there are some positions that we feel like we have to really move on in order to get those positions filled, we're doing that. And we also, as of April 15th, have a soft freeze on our O1 supply expenditures at the building and department levels. Obviously, we're not saying you can't spend anything, but we're also trying to avoid saying, let's just spend that budgeted amount down. So we're trying to be conservative and cautious on that as well. Questions?
I mean, it's clear that we've taken which we created over many years, a nice pot of savings, and we can see very clearly over the next 3 years, we're just whittling that down appropriately. But it just demonstrates the state of the state.
Yeah, and you know, you've discussed in the past the potential of an operating levy increase. That's not in this picture. There are also, as Megan pointed out, no budget adjustment in fiscal year 28 and a very small budget adjustment in fiscal year 27. Those are also levers you can pull as you move forward over the next several years. Again, the business committee has reviewed this in detail and recommends your approval of the fiscal year 25 to 28 budget adjustment plan.
And this does require a resolution.
I think it's good to do a resolution on this. Correct.
Mr. Chair, I will move a resolution to approve the 25 through 28 fiscal year budget plan.
Okay. Fair enough. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any further comments or questions, discussion? Okay, the resolution does require a roll call vote. And with that, we'll start with Ms. Martins.
Aye.
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 Okay, very good. With that, the resolution does pass.
Thank you, Megan.
Yes, thank you, Megan. All right. Moving on, number 4 on the agenda, consider the policies with legislative requirements for approval with a single reading.
All of the policies that you have in front of you are policies that are changed due to maybe some slight edits or adjustments based on legislative action in the 2024 legislative session. There were a lot of them this year, and the policy committee's been working diligently at going through all of those changes, and with Kimberly's help, getting these all redlined so you can take a look at them. But again, because these are legislative changes, they can be adopted in a single reading. Members of the policy committee, any comments on any of them that you want to make?
This is the result of basically just language changes or definitions and so on. And therefore, I move that we accept these policy changes.
Okay, very good. We have a motion. Do you have a second? Okay, very good. Any
Do you
additional?
have any electric lights?
But we've got it covered.
I
No,
see
but
we have it covered.
Yeah.
But we have to provide training on electric
Yeah.
bikes. Not on electric bikes, but on like the age limitation for riding an electric bike, et cetera, which I think is 15?
Yeah. So it's now covered.
Remember those days of bus safety training? So,
Well, we still do that.
yeah,
don't we?
yep,
And
but now
bike,
we
and
add,
e-bike.
now we add training about e-bike usage.
So do you have to have your permit or something for
That's just for your
Green light.
hovercraft.
That would be covered in the training.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, seeing no further discussion, we will take a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Very good.
I suppose we'll have to have charging stations in the future.
Okay. Consider the approval of Adult Basic Education Consortium Agreement. Tammy.
Provide you with a little update before we look at that consortium agreement form. As you may remember, Adult Basic Ed really focuses on equipping adults with educational skills that help them either transition to a post-secondary college option or acquiring skills that help provide them with better job opportunities. And our Adult Basic Ed Learning Cooperative consists of the following school districts: Gibbon, Fairfax, Winthrop, LeSueur, Henderson, of course, St. Peter, Tri-City United, Sibley East, Nicollet, Cleveland, Waseca, Janesville, Waldorf, Pemberton, New Richland, Heartland, Allendale, Geneva, Waterville, Elysian, Morristown, and the law enforcement centers of Nicollet County and LeSueur County. Nate Warden is the coordinator of the consortium, and he and his staff do a terrific job of helping their students. In adult basic education classes, adults can work towards getting their high school diploma or a general education diploma, learning English, improving their basic skills such as literacy and math, and preparing for that post-secondary transition. This year, we expanded our program by adding an increased number of online classes, and it's great to see that we are serving a similar number of students on a regular basis as last year. Just to give you some numbers, last year we had 91 students and 51 of them were attending regularly. This year we have 74 students so far. Our classes go until June, so we have some time to add additional. But of those, 41 of them are attending on a regular basis. And in addition to the United States, adults from the following countries are enrolled in our classes: Mexico, Somalia, Guatemala, Honduras, Ukraine, Ethiopia, El Salvador, Djibouti, Kenya, and Nicaragua. Of the 74 students we've served this year, 20 of them were born in the United States, and approximately 43% of our students primarily speak Spanish, 23% speak Somali, 25% English, and the remaining students speak Anuak, French, Quiche, Swahili, and Ukrainian. As I mentioned earlier, one of our goals is to help students gain the skills that they need for better employment. Many of our students face significant barriers that hinder them from job stability. 55 of our participants come from low-income backgrounds. That limits their access to essential resources like transportation and childcare. 3 students face homelessness, which of course affects their ability to focus on work and education. 18 of them are single parents who are balancing caregiving with also employment demands. We have another 18 that face cultural barriers, such as language differences or unfamiliarity with workplace norms. And additionally, 4 of our students have low literacy levels, which is 4th grade or below, which also hinders job opportunities and career advancement. But recognizing these barriers really helps us better understand our students and their work statuses and employment outcomes. While we have 52 students that are actively working or seeking jobs, we have 22 that face challenges that keep them out of the labor force, which really highlights our need for ongoing support in the journey to helping our participants have economic stability. But despite these obstacles, many students are making progress in their education. This year we have 1 adult who is on target to get their high school diploma, which we've talked about in the past. Adults who get their high school diploma actually have to have the same amount of seat time hours that a current high school student has. So for some people who are working full-time jobs, juggling family, it can take them a long time to make up all of those credits. We also have 3 who are expected to pass their GED. And we are going to celebrate all of their accomplishments at our commencement ceremony, which will be held on Thursday, June 26th. It's at 6 o'clock in the community center, in the community room. You may know that room also as the senior center. School board members are welcome to attend and also assist in the presentation of the diplomas and the different awards. So if you're interested in being involved, just let me know. As we shift our attention towards the agreement, I want to reassure you that the services provided by this consortium are consistent from last year. Our responsibilities are unchanged from those of previous years as well. Do any of you have any questions regarding the agreement or?
Has LeSueur always been the fiscal?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we'd recommend your approval of the agreement, and it does require a resolution.
I would move that we approve the Adult Basic Education Consortium Agreement for this year.
I'll second.
Okay, very good. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Questions?
Tammy, if I may, has the number of districts changed?
I'm sorry, I
comparatively?
didn't hear what
The
you.
number of districts involved, or the different districts added or dropped?
No,
Is
that's the same, same list as previously,
Okay, and it has been that way for a number of years?
for a number of years, yes.
Interesting, thank you.
Okay, with the resolution, does it require a roll call vote. I'll start here with Kate.
Aye.
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 All right, very good. With that, the resolution does pass. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Action item number 6, consider the approval of the plan to renovate MVed.
I'm just going to give
The
you a little bit of
building.
background. I think you're aware, the MVed building is owned by the St. Peter School District. Therefore, we're responsible for updating and repairing and keeping the building in good shape. I think it was your March 3rd study session that was held at MVed, so you had an opportunity to take a look at the building. We've looked at a number of options, including more of a major renovation. That price tag came in at a fairly spendy number, and determined to take that off the table. And so we're looking more at updating the building to give it a fresh look and a good feel. And Seth, why don't you take us through kind of what the plans are?
Yes, one of the things, the other reason we're going through this is also to create a safe place for all the students that are there. The building, in its use right now in the current state, was not made for what it's being used for, so we want to update it to that point. So some of the things we're looking at, we did start looking at wall panels, putting some in there. We do have 50 panels in place, and they've worked so well, we've decided to go with that. So if you look at the project scope estimate, looking at the wall panels, that's estimated for another 200 panels to finish off all the hallways and all the classrooms that have students in them. The second estimate for wall construction for the labor is $53,000. We're also doing all new paint and everything throughout the building, and that's at an estimate of $80,000. And then we're looking at upgrading all the flooring, going to new, more durable carpet, and so the classrooms are a lot more comfortable. Plus, a lot of the VCT is very outdated, getting old, so we're going to look at updating with LVT.
So we've got a total projected cost of $338,000. Our funding streams would be the MVED fund balance, although we can't say we're going to use the MVED fund balance, but tomorrow night at the MVED board meeting, that'll be presented as an action item to the MVED board. And that's not obviously the full fund balance, it's a portion. Long-term facility maintenance revenue, we were able to shift some things around and find that $170,000. And then an increase in the lease amount of $3 a square foot. That building is slightly over 17,000 square feet, so that's what that $50,000 number comes from. It's imperative that we move on this as quickly as possible because we need to have the project completed by August 7th. That's the goal, and things have to get ordered. Quotes have to be received, and they're ready to go. And we would recommend moving forward on this plan, but we'll pause for any questions you might have.
With doing wall panels and flooring, does one of those have to be done before the other, or can they go concurrently, or how's that work? Okay.
Yep, they can go concurrent, pretty much. So when they put down the LVT and stuff, they do have like trim boards that they can put up, or baseboards. So if there is any separation or anything, it can all be covered up with that. So the carpet can go down, then do the wall panels, vice versa. If they do the flooring before they do the wall panels, one of the requirements that we're gonna have is it needs to be covered up and protected.
Are they doing any sort of reconfiguration of some of that empty kind of space where, for like, kind of where that offices were back there? I know that they're putting in a sensory room somewhere in there, so where is that going, or how is that
So the
working?
sensory room, and you might be able to help me with this, there is a room that's kind of like a gathering room, and then behind there, it's another, like a quiet room kind of thing. We're looking at taking that wall out, opening up, and creating that, I believe.
It's between where the boys and girls bathrooms are. There's a
Yes, thank
space there. There's actually two smaller rooms, taking the wall out in between those two to create a bigger room for that sensory room.
Okay.
And then the other part is to separate the parts of the program and age levels of the program more so that there's less deregulation that gets more deregulation going.
Yeah, so the other part of it, we're not gonna do anything with the office areas. The back end where their superintendent office is gonna remain. The backside of Oshawa's gonna remain, and the front office, we're not gonna touch those either, all because of budgetary restraints. So we're just gonna focus on primary.
We'll get all the doors
Yes.
in working
Yes.
order.
Metal doors.
Yep,
Okay.
we already have an estimate for those.
Okay, well, I would make a motion then, oh, sorry, unless, looks like Ken might have a question.
I'll do it during discussion. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I would make a motion to approve the MVED renovation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Very good. Discussion.
Seth, if I may, this will give a desperately needed upgrade to the interior.
Very,
Just-
very much so.
Just curious, the windows and the roof, are they in good shape?
So I just sat down with Schwickerts this morning and went over a roof plan of all the buildings. They just came through about 2 weeks ago, did an evaluation. And the MVED roof, we're looking at anywhere from 7 to 10 years out.
Good.
So there's a couple little patches that need to get done, but besides that, the roof is in really good shape.
Excellent. 17,000 square feet, that's a sizable roof to replace.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yep,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other discussion?
I'm glad we're able to do something with that building and brighten it up a little bit and
Yeah.
put some work in, so.
Yeah, very much so.
Well, we have a motion on the floor. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Motion passes. Thank you, Seth. All right, final action item, non-renewal of probationary teachers.
We have, just as a bit of background, the first 3 consecutive years of a teacher's first teaching experience in Minnesota in a single district is a probationary period of employment. When they've completed the first 3 years, they become tenured teachers, and then they're on our seniority list. Or the probationary period, if they've received probation previously in another district in Minnesota, then they have 1 year in order to become tenured. We have 2 teachers who are teaching in out-of-field permission. So that's an example where the teacher is a licensed teacher, but they're giving what used to be known as a variance to teach out of their licensure field. And we have 1 teacher who is in a Tier 1 position. And so we are recommending that those 3 teachers, and that Tier 1 position, by the way, is a .167. And at the HR committee, it was like, how do you get to a .167? Well, the person is teaching 1 block for 1 semester. And a normal teaching load would be 6 blocks for a year. So it's 1/6, thus .167. So these teachers really, it isn't based on performance or anything of that nature, but we do need to, in all 3 cases, post these positions again before they could be rehired if there are no suitable candidates who have appropriate licensure, before they could be rehired in the same position. And I think the limitation, ETV might have to help me out here, is 5 out-of-field permissions. In Tier 1, is that 3 years? Yeah. So it really is just a move we need to take because of licensure issues. You can see that there's a separate resolution for each teacher, and they would need to be dealt with a resolution separately for each of those situations as described. And then the letter that would be delivered to the teacher by their supervising principal is included in the resolution. So I would recommend you approve the resolution for non-renewal of these 3 probationary teachers with a resolution, separate resolution for each.
And it will not be a surprise to any of them, right?
No.
Yeah, again, not performance-based in any way. It's licensing technicality. that we
Correct.
need to Amend.
Have to change
Abide.
the top that, because it'll say board chair Potts, and we'll just have to change that then to just say
Yeah.
whatever.
Whoever makes that resolution.
Okay.
So I will entertain
I'll
first
move
resolution.
the resolution relating to the non-renewal of teaching contract of Heidi Niemeyer.
There we go. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any additional questions or discussion before moving on? All right, it's a resolution, so roll call vote. Is that Kate, please?
Aye.
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 Very good. Resolution passes. It's the first of 3 tonight. I will consider a resolution for next one. I did David. Carol Bronkowski. Up to you guys. Yeah, Bronkowski. Nope.
So is it move the resolution? Is that what we're
Yes.
doing? Move the resolution for, is it Carol Bonkowski? And I apologize if I said that name incorrectly. To do the non-renewal of the teaching contract.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any discussion? With the resolution, it is a roll call vote. Let's start with Kate.
Aye.
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 And the resolution passes. Thank you. One last for this evening. Kevin Durham.
The resolution of the non-renewal for Mr. Kevin Durham.
Very good.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have the motion and the second. Any discussion? All right, start with you, Ms. Martins.
Aye.
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 And the final resolution is passed. Thank you for that. Sir.
I've said twice, and I'll add the third time, emphasis, it's not because of performance, it's simply, as you indicated, technicalities relative to licensure and regulations and statute.
Correct, yep. Thank you. That concludes our action items tonight. We move on to informational items. First up, AI and artificial intelligence guidelines and procedures. And where are we at?
Well, we at this point in the process, the AI team made up of Dr. Olson, myself, Michael Johnson, and Gus Sorbo. You've had that plan in front of you for a little while, but most recently we put together the AI pilot team made up of teachers. I believe there are 11 of them who are excited to take part in this. So they're going to get started this summer. Hopefully, most of them will be able to attend an AI summit hosted by the MEP schools in Owatonna on June 18th. And from there, their task is to, they have some very specific tasks outlined, but basically they'll be the teachers who will be resources for others to help them with either workflow or lesson plan development, just anything that would be helpful to teachers in the classroom. There are more teachers involved at the secondary level, but still there are representatives from each building.
So then, part of the next step in that is that there would be, rather than a policy at this point, we've talked about guidelines and procedures, which would be more flexible and adaptable, because what we already know, after just been working on our AI plan for like 3 months, things change very quickly, almost from month to month. So as we presented this to the policy committee last week, we talked about the fact that this is an information item. There is a portion that has acceptable use of AI tools, protection of student and staff data, ensuring accessibility, using AI ethically for both students and staff, and responsibly for both students and staff. And the idea being that this information would come back to you as a school board as a part of the handbook presentation process in probably August of this coming year. So, questions on any portions of the AI guidelines and procedures, or anything else for Mrs. Engeldinger about our AI plans? Maybe just mention a bit about the student literacy.
Yeah, I was also going to add, for students at the middle school and high school level, there is a 9-month, who knows if that will change over the next 9 months, but Michael Johnson has found and is putting together a curriculum for middle and high school kids. In the middle school, it will be delivered in their health classes, and at the high school through our PLPs. Most of that is on ethical use.
That's wild. I mean, I can't help but feel like we're trying to build guidelines for Cadillacs while we're sitting in the era of horse and buggies, but so be it. Like, we've got to do something.
Does anybody have any questions?
No.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you for doing this.
Yes. We have to at this point, or we'll be so far behind. Mr. Cowd, have you tried it yet? I gotta ask. You said you hadn't last time I asked.
I think I identify more with that, some politician who called it the A1 policy.
Pretty smooth.
That's good. That's good.
All Well, thank you. Next up, we've got, I think this is for you too, we've got an informational item about the annual report on field trips.
Just as a background before Annette takes over, you have a school board policy, 610, field trips. It requires the superintendent to annually report to the school board on field trips that involve students and that are sponsored by the school district. We've been working on looking at some potential revisions to that policy with the Policy Review Committee, because there is some inconsistent language in the policy to make that more consistent. And so the Policy Review Committee will be looking at that in May, potentially bringing that back at your May board meeting as a first reading, and then potentially back to your June board meeting for a second reading and possible adoption. And we've also been working on various checklists and situations that involve where the principal, where the superintendent, where school board notification gets to be made around various field trips. So with that,
Yeah, with that, I just put together a list of our most recent choir trip and then the big trips that are coming up. When you read the policy, it is kind of confusing because some of it talks about either an overnight, or more than one overnight. Well, as you guys know, high school programs have all kinds of regular trips. An example, our FFA is, we'll be heading off to convention and those regular things that happen every single year. I assume we won't be reporting on that annually, or it would be a very long evening. But I just am reporting on those big trips that are coming up. And our choir trip was very successful. 99 students attending that trip. And they had a fantastic time. And Bree Bergstrom talks about the cultural exchange day that they had with other choirs being the highlight of that for her and for a lot of the kids as well. We also have other trips coming up next year. The big band trip to Greece will be over spring break. The art club, this is a new, art club isn't exactly, it's new post-COVID. And Eva Hendrickson holds art club regularly. I think they meet at least once a week, and it's just kids who are very interested. And they're planning a art tour to Washington, D.C., hopefully next April. And then our FFA, Jasmine Whitty and Jacob Pearson are planning on taking members of our FFA to northern Italy to study sustainable farming, and that will be next summer in July. All of these trips, they all have fundraising opportunities possible for kids and their families to help them afford it.
and just as an example, you've got that checklist attached.
Yeah, I do. I also, I know that there are, this feels like a lot, but it's the art club in particular and our FFA trip in particular, it's providing opportunities for kids who might not otherwise have been able to maybe even travel out of the state. So I really appreciate the effort that these teachers are going through to provide those opportunities for kids. I know Dr. Olson talked about our process for this. Our process for this hasn't been quite as, teachers have had to come to me first with the idea, have their itinerary. I sign it for pre-approval, and then the superintendent has signed it for pre-approval before they are supposed to announce it to kids or families or advertise it. So we worked a little bit on just putting a little bit more meat behind that, I guess. So I have also attached our new preliminary approval checklist. It shouldn't really add a lot more, too much work for the staff members who are interested in doing it, but it also, I think, makes both staff and administration think about some of these questions before deciding to go on these big trips.
So, like, when we went to, like, the choir concert, and they're doing like that bake sale, and then where does that money go for?
So at the last choir concert, I believe the FFA was having the bake sale, and so that would go into their activities accounts for the individual kids who are fundraising for the trip,
For which trip then?
for the FFA trip.
Okay. 'Cause it's just very
Upcoming
confusing.
at the Pops concert, there's still going to be a silent auction, for example, that would go into the choir activity account.
And do those all come to the board then as like gifts then?
No, they
But
don't.
the
You
Booster
mean
Club
the,
does,
would what come to the board as, you mean the,
as gifts, because, as a gift and donation. Do we receive that as a gift and donation?
no, I don't believe so. It's
Okay.
not the fundraisers.
Okay,
Yeah, this is a fundraiser that the students are doing,
Mhm.
right? So it goes into the student accounts where
okay,
Yeah.
the Booster Club is an adult organization
Gotcha.
giving a gift to the athletic department.
okay.
And participation in these trips is strictly voluntary,
Mhm.
correct?
Yep.
As you indicated, it's a great opportunity for kids to experience something that they may never have a chance to do again.
Right.
And certainly have probably not done in the past. Just in terms of the public's understanding, though, as you indicated, it basically is either at the individual family's expense or the fundraising is done through whatever entity it is.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Any further discussion, questions?
Thank you.
Yes.
Sounds like fun.
Sure, as I have chaperoned one of these trips, and it is a lot of fun, and they keep those kids busy from the break of day until that sun goes down, which is good, as we all know. It was exhausting, it's the chaperone, but really fun.
Okay, who's gonna join you? Yeah, for building reports.
Come on up. I could actually.
You're gonna go in two different waves? Okay.
Creatures of habit, I think. All right. So here we are, April 21st, a couple more months of school left, 6 weeks maybe, but early childhood is hopping. This time of the year, we are really focusing on our transitions. It's part of our strategic plan, and Jana and I have worked together on this piece. We'll have students who are going to kindergarten in both our early childhood special education and our school readiness classes, both tour South Elementary, have a couple field trips there, as well as have transition meetings for students who are on IEPs and are going into kindergarten. So at those transition meetings, we'll be inviting a kindergarten representative, South special education representative, parents, our ECSE staff, to really ensure that that transition from preschool to kindergarten is as smooth as possible. So we're excited about that. We're also focused on field trips. The weather's nice. We're going to get kids out and about. We've got some trips planned to Fallenstein Park in Mankato, which is an inclusive playground, which is fantastic if you haven't been there, as well as our local parks. Making trips to the community center. We've used the Creative Play Place, those types of things. So that's always very exciting and giving kids lots of experiences. I do want to remind folks that we still have openings in school readiness for the fall. So if they'd like to register their preschooler, they should give our office a call or check online. Sorry, I'm out of breath for some reason. Talking too fast, maybe? I will slow down, take a deep breath, because the finale is the read and feed. Once again, I'll be bringing that back to each meeting just to make sure we're getting the word out to families that the read and feed is back. We'll be hosted by North Elementary, again this year, the hub. Children ages 1 to 18 can eat breakfast and lunch free, June 5th through August 15th. So that's a really important program and benefit to our community. So we're excited about that. If you have any questions about that, again, give our early childhood office a call.
Okay, can see your notes. I think I
Yes.
could just like follow along because
Yes.
we're also talking about
Alignment.
transitions. Yes. We're excited to have the preschoolers come and tour our building. Similarly, we're preparing our first graders for North. They will be going up May 7th to take a tour of North, and then families will be invited in the evening by Principal Doherty. We are also doing lots of field trips. This Friday, we have a couple of classes participating in an Arbor Day event with the city at Stones Park, so that's fun. But all of our kindergartners are also doing field trips to the police station and the fire station, and then doing lots of walks to parks as well. Our students will be traveling to North on April 30th for a Velveteen Rabbit production. I'm sure you're going to talk about that, so we're very excited about that. Just another thing, Shields recently donated $200 to South Elementary, and then our Star Pride team kicked in some money, and we purchased a set of 25 camp chairs and a wagon for an outdoor classroom. And so next week in STEAM, our students will get to experience that outdoor seating arrangement for the first time. So we're excited about that purchase that was made. And then just a couple of district-wide things. Teacher Appreciation is coming up May 5th to the 9th. And so there will be, it's a good time just to say thank you to a teacher that has inspired a child or inspired your child or maybe yourself. Just a good time of the year to reflect on all the things that teachers do. I also want to congratulate the 55 individuals that completed their READ Act training last week. That's a huge accomplishment through the district, and our EC folks are probably getting close.
Some of them have finished as well.
Yep,
so.
the letters training, so that's great. And then just curriculum-wise, our social studies team is still making progress. They've kind of wrapped up their school year stuff for social studies curriculum review, and our ELA team meets one more time to prepare for summer work in June.
Yeah, very good. Greetings from North Elementary, everyone. And as Ms. Sikora mentioned there, April 30th, we do have our spring play, Velveteen Rabbit. So a couple showings of that, evening one for families and the community members, and like Jana talked about, students as well earlier in the day. So we're excited. Director Lenhoff and his whole family team, I guess we can call them, have again outdone themselves in the performance. So excited to see that here in a little bit, in about a week. Also, I do want to echo what Jana talked about with the Core Foundations reading training. That's about 50 plus hours that our teachers, our kindergarten, well, preschool, but core in particular, kindergarten through fourth grade teachers and middle school teachers participated in. And just having a background in elementary ed myself, and going through that training a handful of years ago, the amount that I learned of just foundational reading, phonics and phonemic awareness, and the intricacies of all that takes place in a human's mind when you learn to take sounds and put them with symbols, and was unbelievable. I learned a ton as well. It's not just simply comprehension and vocabulary development and things like that. There's so much science that goes along with it, and really appreciated that training. Also, update just district-wide on MCA training, about 70% complete. We have 5th, 8th, and high school science left, which is a new, it's the MCA 4s for science, so we're not going to get those results back until the end of August, as the state or the MDE spends a longer time going through the results, since it's the first version of the 4 test that's being administered this year in science. And then just 4th and 8th grade has math left, and then about partial sections at the high school still, with some math going on and some reading. So we're getting close. Usually have to have that all finished up with science by the end of the first week in May. All right. Also finished up Stars Academy, all the way kindergarten through 4th grade. So that's a week from tonight will be the last night of that. A good number of students. In North had about 70 students participating, and probably had about 50, yep, something like that. So that's a great program extension for our students' academics. And then National Bike and Roll to School Days coming up on May 7th. We like to get involved in that at North. So even the bussers get dropped off a couple blocks away and have to walk. So it's all downhill. First they complain about having to walk, and then they sprint 2 blocks straight.
Both ways.
Well, I'll let you tell them that story, Dr. Olson. But Officer Hughes always organized that event in the fall and the spring, and the age of North kids are just perfect for that independence, getting to school that way. And we have the bike racks full pretty consistently, especially on those days, both bike racks, and everybody's walking. And I think Officer Hughes gets every emergency response individual and PD and county, and they're all over the place, every crosswalk, all over the school, handing out stickers and buttons and all sorts of stuff. So thank him for the coordination of that every season.
Thank you.
I think you heard it from everybody that was up here so far, and I'll continue the theme. Spring is busy. I have no data to support what I'm about to say, but it feels like November through February, you're kind of looking at the clock going, gosh, this school year is dragging along. And then you get to this time of year and you're like, holy cow, slow down. So at the middle school right now, busy activity schedule. We got baseball, softball, tennis, golf, track and field. And then we're also wrapping up our fine arts program. With May 7th, we have our 6th through 8th grade band concerts. And May 12th, we have our choir. So 5th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. And all of those concerts will be out at the high school. Huge thank you to Zoe and Seth. They don't get enough recognition. Spring, I can't imagine. Anytime it snows or rains or lightnings, completely redoing that schedule. So a huge thank you to them for keeping that chaotic schedule going. This Friday, we're sending our 8th graders out to the high school for a half day. It's kind of what I hope to be an annual tradition where 8th graders spend last half of the day at the high school. They will eat lunch in the Commons, which is a huge experience. I think it's orange chicken this year.
We always ask what their favorite is.
Which is awesome. And then they'll go through a rotation with high school teachers to learn a little bit about what high school is like. And it really just sets kids' minds at ease. On the other end of that, tentatively, we have 5th grade orientation scheduled at the middle school on May 13th. One of the things we're thinking about is we probably won't be, we for sure won't be able to do our traditional jump start in the spring for our 5th graders because our building will be off limits. So the plan is to use those first couple of days for 5th grade to really work through that jump start curriculum at a slower pace for all students when we get back to school. A quick mend the middle update. As you know, there's going to be a huge crunch for that timeline to get all the construction done for phase 1. So crews are working behind the scenes during the school year, mostly electrical work where we don't even see them. They're back in rooms that nobody even know exist. But most recently, over the weekend, crews removed the ceiling tiles in the cafeteria hallway and the locker room hallways. What Seth has communicated to me is that by removing those ceiling tiles, crews will be able to locate the pipes and the wiring and adjust sprinkler heads in advance of the construction. And I think Seth said maybe saved a couple weeks in the summer. So it will look a little ugly in that area, but I assure everybody it's safe and it's going to ensure that we can get back into the building on time next school year. And then lastly, just a quick update on the principal search. Searching for a new SPMS principal, if you know anybody. Posting closes on Wednesday. From there, our first round of interviews are tentatively scheduled for April 30th and May 1st. Second round of interviews scheduled for May 7th. And then we will be back at the May board meeting with a recommendation for hire. So moving right along.
Like everybody has said, it's busy season in our schools. I'm only going to take you from one event last week until this Saturday that's not even including co-curriculars. It's crazy from here until the end of the year. Our teachers, Carol Bankowski and Courtney Shoemaker, took a bunch of kids to the Crave Culinary Arts competition at MSU last week, and I don't have their names or how many of them in front of me, but we had many kids who placed in the top 3 in all of the schools who were represented there. Tomorrow, Eva Hendrickson is taking 17 of her art students to Section 2A Visual Arts Festival in Chanhassen, Chanhassen, I believe. Wednesday, we are having the not Chankaska.
I just can't.
Not Chankaska. Nope. Mm-mm. It almost came out. Wednesday, Officer Hughes and other members of the police department are hosting the mock crash. And ACT Day is Friday, pre-ACT and ACT taking place during the school day. Then our 8th graders are coming up that afternoon to spend the day with our running through schedules with teachers. And Saturday is prom. So, no wonder I said Jen Casca, right? Because that's where prom is. That's where the dance is.
Wow, thank you. Great updates.
Yeah.
Any comments? Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Olson.
Well, just continuing the theme of transition, one of the goals that you set for me in my interim superintendent year is to have a smooth transition to a new superintendent in Dr. Graff, and he and I are working on a regular basis at transition activities and just talking about summer work plans and, first of all, March to June work plans, and then probably June to August work plans, and things are going very well. So looking forward to time working with John.
Very good. Thank you. Board members, we'll go around. Kate?
Well, Dr. Graff is busy, and I'm going to just pull out our student spotlight tonight. Dominic, his brother is going with a huge group of kids to State History Day on Sunday. So the big 7th grade crew is going up to be at state. So they may have 2 state champions or something like that in the family. That's it.
I have nothing.
Nothing for me. Tracy?
I'm gonna say nothing for me.
Very good. Russ?
Just real quickly, Rita and I had the opportunity to attend the MSBA 3 and 4 training sessions a week ago in St. Cloud. Very well done. I think Rita can speak for herself, but I certainly enjoyed it. And the presenters were outstanding. Material was good. The take-home data was very useful as well. So appreciate the opportunity to attend that, and it was more than worthwhile.
I will second that and again state my appreciation for being able to attend. It was really good.
Excellent. Great feedback. We've got a number of committees. And that would be a great time if we have any particular updates. I know that the HR committee met and we talked extensively about contract negotiations. We spent some time before this meeting to discuss it, so I don't know if there's anything else there that we need to talk about, but we also had education committee meeting. Any updates?
We talked about, what did we talk about?
Many of the things that we see
Yeah,
tonight.
we kind of hit them I feel like we hit some of that at the
Yeah.
meeting tonight.
Business committee meeting? I know.
Megan does a great job of summarizing the business.
Yes. So, and policy?
You saw it.
Yep, we saw it. Okay, any other legislative updates? Anything that we need to?
Well, like I told someone, they had this past week off. They accomplished about as much as they had the whole first session, so I think they've only passed 3 bills thus far. So things are gonna get fast and furious, and when they do those omnibus bills, it's over 100 pages, so how anyone reads it all and makes an intelligent decision in voting, I have no idea.
Well, they don't.
Yeah. Could it be that they don't? Okay, all right. Upcoming meetings for this school board, we've got a school board study session, May 7th. That is in the media center at the middle school. Education committee meeting coming up May 8th at 1 p.m. in the district office. Policy review, May 13th in the district office, business committee meeting, May 14th in the district office, and again, our regular board meeting next month, May 21st, 5 p.m. right here in the governor's room.
Our new time and our new day.
New time and new day, so. we're
May
looking forward-
14th is also the staff recognition, is it not?
Correct. We have, I think we're working on changing that business committee meeting, aren't we, Kimberly? No, not the business committee, the policy committee we changed, yeah. We changed the policy committee, yeah. Yeah, staff recognition event, May 14th, High School Commons, 3:45 PM. Recognizing 25 years of service in the district, retirees, and the Distinguished Service Award recipient.
Very good. Looking forward to that. You're all invited. Any other updates for us? Okay, with that, we'll accept a final motion.
I so move.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Very good. Meeting is closed.
Thank you.